Thank you to eFulfillment Service for sponsoring today's video. Check them out if you plan on publishing your own board game so they can handle the logistics of getting your game out into the world. Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special episode on my channel. Today I am talking with Chris Bakke, a full-time board game designer and publisher who oversees a bunch of really cool projects, like the virtual playtesting Discord group, the Tabletop Publishers database, as well as running a game design studio and publishing his own print and play games. And he also just started a new project called Puzzle Run, where participants have to complete puzzles as they run a 5K, which I think sounds super cool. So we have a lot to cover here, Chris. So I'd like to start with talking about playtesting, then pitching, then publishing, and finish with puzzling. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start with the virtual playtesting group that you run on Discord. Can you tell us about that and how it started?
Sure. Virtual playtesting started shortly after COVID locked everything down. My wife and I were living in Poland at the time, and I was excited when I got to Poland because I found two great opportunities to play test. And this is always great when you find those good, stable communities. So a few months in, I show up to one of them one day, and the doors are locked, the lights are off, there's no one around. And at first I'm like, okay, this is their idea of a practical joke. This is cute. These are, 20 something Polish men that are probably looking at the foreigner going, yes, let's get a practical joke in or something. No, that was not the case. I only learned later that they had closed the campus due to COVID.
Right.
When I heard the next day that they had canceled the NCAA men's basketball tournament due to this new coronavirus thing. And at first, it wasn't clear at first how long this was going to last, but as days turned to weeks and weeks turned into a month or two, I began to really miss playtesting. And I heard about remote playtesting, a group in New York that started online playtesting with their with the cohort that met in New York. They just met in the virtual space instead.
Right.
Um, and a lot of the groups actually did the same thing. They started from their real world playtesting group and they just met online. And I thought, well, I'm not part of the cool kids club yet, but what if we made a group that was basically open to everyone? Didn't matter if you were part of a real world playtesting group or not. You are welcome here. We're going to meet Thursday nights at 6 p.m. UK time because that was just kind of what worked for folks. Um, so we took a lot of elements from what worked from remote playtesting, like a Google Sheet that kept everything organized. It kept track of which designers were coming with which games, which playtesters playtested the game, and so on. Um, and along with Ian Brocklebank, a fellow designer here in England, we grew it to be over 2,000 people. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so for a couple of years, it was one of the best places to play test because it was one of the only places to play test.
Right.
Um, we are still going today, by the way. So if you're
Hmm.
listening to this and you want to get your game to the table, we're meeting Mondays and Thursdays and every other Sunday
Wow.
and also Wednesdays as well. So
Wow.
um, yeah, so what we realized even as people were beginning to kind of move back to real world playtesting once the game shops and the cafes opened up, the virtual space just worked better for some folks. And that
Hmm.
was because they needed more opportunities than the real world area offered, or they're 45 minutes away from the game cafe they used to go to, or they're a parent
Yes. Yeah.
and they can't just leave their kid at home alone.
Hmm.
So when uh, you have the convenience of virtual playtesting online, and even though a lot of people went back to the real world, um, the virtual space is still there, and it's amazing. I get to play test with folks on three different continents on a regular basis.
Yes. That's always so cool when you're playtesting with people all around the world. That's just a really cool moment. And it's just a really great thing that we have that technology today that we can do that.
Exactly.
And it's one of the good things that came out of COVID. That's also when I got into online playtesting as well, was during that time. And
Hmm.
now, same, now I do both. I have an in-person playtesting meetup in 2 weeks, but I
Nice.
playtest weekly online as well. And so it's really nice to have both. They both have good things about it, but the online is just such, like you said, it makes it accessible to so many more people who
Hmm.
otherwise might feel like they just can't play test their game. They just don't have the people around, or they're not able to go there or whatever. So I think it's a really fantastic thing. And that you playtest so often too. So I've mentioned your group so many times in my videos because a lot of people ask, like, how can I even find people to playtest with? And it's like virtual playtesting Discord group literally playtest 4 times a week. So like it is there. Yes, you do need to learn how to make a digital prototype, which is its own whole thing.
Yeah.
But with Dexterous and other Component Studio and things like that, it's getting easier and easier all the time.
Oh yeah. There's definitely a learning curve to playtesting, whether you're using Tabletop Simulator or Screen Top or Tabletopia. And that's the bad news. The good news is that we all had to do this same learning curve.
Right.
And I actually remember when we started getting into online playtesting, I was like, you're gonna have to drag me kicking and screaming
Yes.
from my physical prototypes because
Right.
just the feeling, the tactile nature of it all.
Right.
And then over time, my my online prototypes were like a couple of versions ahead.
Hmm.
And then a few months later, the physical prototype was so far out of date, it wasn't
Right.
even going to show the current state of the game.
Hmm.
So at some point, about a year or a year and a half into online playtesting, I literally scrapped every single one of my physical prototypes because they were so
Hmm.
far, so laughably out of date that nothing
Yep.
from those prototypes were still useful, relevant. I couldn't just like reprint one deck of cards or one set of something. The whole thing needed to be
Right.
reprinted. So,
Hmm.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And once you make a digital prototype, it's easy to then play it online, but then you can easily print it and play test it on the table as well, which is really nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one thing that I kind of figured out early on, and this is one of the things where everyone kind of figures out a system that works for them. However, you're designing your cards, whether it's in I use PowerPoint, you mentioned Dexterous. If you're on Canva or any other program you're using to lay out your cards, Component.studio is great for this as well. Whatever program you're using, you now have two versions of the game. We have the
Hmm.
printed
Right.
version and the digital version.
Hmm.
And the good news is this is the same sort of thing you're doing. So you do it once and it's useful in two different ways. You might have to do a
Right.
bit of reformatting
Right.
to make it work, but you make the game once in one way and you can
Hmm.
use those files in two different ways.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's a fantastic tool. And so people can just Google virtual playtesting Discord, and I believe you have a web page that has the Discord link there.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
The web page at one point we thought we would do a lot more with the website. It's mainly just there as a way of getting people into the Discord.
Right.
But if you go if you Google virtual playtesting Discord, you'll probably find it. And we
Yes.
can probably put a link the chat or in the description somewhere.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, we meet Mondays and Thursdays starting 6 p.m. UK time. That's 1 p.m. Eastern, or I think 10 a.m. Pacific.
Hmm.
We also meet on the second and fourth Sundays, starting 3 p.m. UK, and that's think 10 a.m. Eastern. And that's basically because a while back, we actually merged remote playtesting into virtual playtesting,
Mm.
and they met once a month in on a Sunday, and we
Right.
said, well, we want to honor that by continuing to meet at a time that was normal for them. And we since expanded it to twice a month. We also meet on Wednesdays starting 7 p.m. UK time,
Mm.
2 p.m. Eastern,
Mm.
for the bigger games, the heavier games, the longer games. And
Okay.
David Digby is a rock star that runs that meetup. And what they do there is they basically play one, maybe two games of the bigger type to completion.
Oh, okay.
So for most games, we'll usually give about an hour to hour and a half for a game, for your teach, the play, and the feedback.
Right.
And we don't always finish a game, and that's okay. Um, we'll definitely have enough for feedback after a round or two, sometimes even just from the setup personally.
Right.
But on Wednesdays, David Digby and crew, along with you, the designers, will playtest games to completion. And this is specifically the audience that plays bigger, heavier games, basically Wingspan and up. So Gateway
Right.
Plus and up, 2.5 or higher on the BGG weight scale.
That's great. That's really, really great. Because for those heavier games, it's for most, like a lot of playtesting groups, yeah, this is a standard hour and a half, hour or so, and there's never enough time to play the entire
Yeah,
game. So that's really, really nice to have that option as well. So let's keep chatting about playtesting. You actually wrote a book about playtesting, which is very
I
cool, called
did.
Playtesting Best Practices, Real World and Online. Let's see it. Oh, there it is. Wow.
It's always a humbling moment when you get your own book in the mail and you're like, "Ooh, this is what I, oh yeah, I remember writing this and formatting this and triple checking
Right?
this and editing this and checking for typos. Yeah, so this is
Right.
playtesting best practices.
Very cool.
It's also available as an ebook, obviously, but the paperback is a 6 by 9. It looks thin. I get that. But what I try to do with this book is there are very few sort of like pictures on the
Mm,
inside. There's a few here and there.
yeah.
But what this is focused on text. This is meant to be like ounce for ounce, just knowledge is my goal
Right.
with this. And this
Yes.
has been learned from,
Mm-hmm.
yes, really just playtesting since 2016 and also being yeah, I've had the privilege of easily having run over 1,000 playtests at this point. So
Yes. Just sharing everything that you've learned with everyone. That's going to be so helpful for so many people. And yeah, it must
exactly.
feel the same as like holding your a game that you've designed, being able to hold that in
Yeah.
your hands.
Oh
That
yeah.
must be such a great feeling.
It's always a fun feeling because as designers, you know how it is to to see the stage, to see the thing in all of its processes. And then
Hmm.
if you sign the game with a publisher, then you are kind of giving your baby up so that they can do the art, they can do the formatting, the layout, the manufacturing considerations, and you're not always privy to each and every one of those decisions. So
Right. Yeah.
you get the box in of your game as your author copies, and then you go, oh, so it feels like Christmas
Yeah.
because the choices that were made, you didn't see all of them.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm really proud of the book. And I am actually going to be working on a self-published book. I'm probably going to be releasing that in October. So
Wow.
keep your ears peeled for that on
Okay.
entergames.com.
Oh, that's so exciting. That's very, very cool. And for this game, I believe people can get it on Amazon.
Yes, so playtesting best practices is from Taylor and Francis. You can go to routledge.com. Um, it's actually right there on the back. That helps you, routledge.com. And
Perfect.
also, of course, it's on Amazon and I guess that classic saying of anywhere books are sold.
Oh, perfect. Oh, that's very cool. That's fantastic. So yeah, definitely check that book out. I'm sure Chris has learned a lot over the years. So especially if you're new to the whole playtesting thing, I'm sure that would be very helpful, especially for a new designer to get that foundation before moving forward. Let's move on to pitching. So you just went to Mojo Pitch. So
I
for
did.
people who don't know what that is, maybe you can let us know what that is and what were your main takeaways.
Sure. So Mojo Pitch is a physical in-person event held in London and a 3-day online pitching event. It's run as a for-profit venture, and what you do as a designer is you basically go to pitch your games to publishers that are choosing to be there. These are predominantly mass market or party casual type games. So if it's a
Right,
hobby game or a gateway game, that's usually going to be a bit too heavy for the publishers that show up here.
right,
Um, but this is your chance to pitch like a Hasbro, a Spin Master, um, Big Potato. Um, Asmodee was there with some of their studios,
right,
Fat Brain, and a bunch of others. So this is your chance. You basically get a direct pipeline to the right person without having to go through a convention and hope you're talking to the right person at the right time. Um, Also, once you get their wish lists, you're getting to see kind of this in-person confidential look at what they're looking for.
Mm.
So that right there is almost worth the cost of admission.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then they're also, once you see that, you can also just reply to the organizers to say, yes, I'd like to meet this company, this company, this company. And then they will set up the appointments for you to where you'll get your schedule at the start of the day and you'll look at it and say, okay, so at 10 o'clock, I need to go to this meeting room to meet this company. At
Mm.
10:20, I'll go to this meeting room and so on.
Okay, so
There's
you are moving around. They're not coming to you.
Correct. So in the last
Okay.
couple of years that they've done it at a football stadium in London, and they'll
Mm.
use like the conference rooms or the like the luxury suites. Each
Okay.
one of those is big enough for the publisher to have a seat with their team to take notes on their computer or paper or whatever, and then the designers move around. So it's a bit like a speed pitching event or a speed dating event wherein the designers are moving around and the publishers stay where they are in their
Okay.
rooms. So
And that's also
um,
a tough thing to do with a heavier game with lots of bits and pieces and stuff to constantly set up and take down. So that's a lot more conducive to party games or lighter games.
Exactly. And this is so one thing to know about the Mojo Pitch. This is one part of a 3-day Play Creators Festival. So Play Creators Festival is the overarching name of the thing. The Mojo Pitch is one of those events. There's also networking, there's an award show, there's conferences with talks and panels and such like that. And if you're new to the industry or if you're looking to get more involved with the industry, this is an industry only event. So
Mm,
this isn't like a Gen Con or a PAX Unplugged or an Essie Spiel where you're kind of fighting the crowd of gamers to try and get where you're trying to go. This is
right.
industry only, a lot like Nuremberg
Mm,
or Gamma, if you've been to those. So you're
a lot more
going to talk to
focused.
exactly much more focused and much more easy to get around. You still have to show up in London, of course, but you do,
Right.
strictly speaking, you don't even have to do that. You can attend Mojo Pitch just for the online pitching opportunities.
Right.
So if you're somewhere else in the world, um, I mean, if you're looking for an excuse to come to London, here you go.
Right.
But if you're looking to just do the pitching to a company online, they have a platform for that, and they'll spread those out over a few days.
I think that's fantastic that they have an online format as well as the in-person. I think that really opens up the door for a lot more people to be able to attend this. So that's really, really nice. And so the Mojo, this is an annual event that happens in London, UK, the in-person one. I believe
Mhm.
it's the end of June, beginning July.
It's typically middle of the year. The
Yeah.
exact dates have changed a little bit, but
Okay.
if you go to their website, mojo-pitch.com,
Right.
you can learn more about it. Um, the the big takeaway that I have from this, and
Yeah.
this is one of those things where I've done it a couple of times now. Um, you get 20 minutes
Okay.
with the publisher,
Mm-hmm.
and 20 minutes is not a lot of time.
Right.
So my encouragement is get good at pitching and showing the core of the fun of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you're coming here with mass market games, with casual party games, and if you've played these, you know that the promise of the fun needs to be found very quickly. 30
Yes.
seconds, a minute
Yes.
is not too early to be promising the fun of the game.
Right.
You might not get to teach every single aspect of the game, but you can teach and get to a lot of the elements of the game in a first minute or two.
Mm-hmm.
If your game has so many pieces that you have to set up and things, then you may want to have a different way of setting it up. One
Right.
person actually had like a very large, like an artist portfolio sort of bag.
Mm.
And what I think they did was really cool. They would actually just take the whole like this A2 poster size thing out of the bag, and this was the game all laid out on this
Cool.
sheet. I didn't get to see exactly how it worked, but
Yeah.
the idea was that instead of just teaching it from like a notebook or whatever, the whole board, you just bring it out, play it on the table, and there it is.
Wow. That's very
Um,
cool.
yeah, so if you can, do try to play at least a round or something with the game to show the fun rather than just talk about the fun. That
Yes.
classic show don't tell sort of thought process is true here as well.
Nice. Yeah, I know with a lot of the Hasbros and the Mattels and whatever, they want a quick get, something
Yeah,
where the hook is very clear, the fun is very clear within, yeah, like you said, the first 30 seconds of the
exactly.
pitch.
Yeah. So this is one of the things that you can prepare for, you can kind of know ahead of time. And if you're ever curious on how to find that, look at the games that are out there. Every published game has gone through this process where the designer pitched them a game. The publisher, maybe they just took the designer's game and then just published that, but they probably developed it, made changes, rethemed it. And when the publisher goes to a convention, they naturally have to be able to sell it to the gamers.
Right. Yeah.
So look at how published games are sold to gamers. Look
Mm-hmm.
at the hooks that they offer. Look at the promise of the experience that they make. And that'll
Mm-hmm.
give you a sense of how to sell your game to a publisher.
Yes, absolutely. And looking at the taglines of games is always very helpful too. That's usually the hook condensed down to a few words. So that's really great. Yeah, so that's definitely a good opportunity to think about it. Like you said, it is a for-profit thing, so there is an expense to attending.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really interesting to hear your perspective of how it went. So in general, what would be a piece of advice that you've already given some good tidbits, but another piece of advice that you would give designers about pitching games to publishers in general?
Um, in general, I look at the research as the research you can do about a publisher is so important. It's one thing, like it's one of those pieces of advice, like if you're going to pitch a game to Button Shy, they make 18 card games.
Right.
They don't make anything else. They make 18 card games.
Yes.
Don't pitch them anything else that is not an 18 card game.
Right.
Exploding Kittens makes party games, maybe a bit crass for adults, whatever, but they make party games. Don't pitch them your sequel to Champions of Midgard or
Right.
Twilight Imperium. So basically know the publisher, but also that's kind of the most basic element of that. But really try to picture how your game kind of slots into their lineup. Some
Right.
publishers are really good about saying we have three lines of games. We have our line for our party games, we've got a line for kids games, we've got a line of hobby games. Okay, which of those lines does your game fit into?
Mm-hmm.
You can and should be looking at their websites or social media, whatever you can, their convention profile. Seeing them at a convention is always helpful, but the more information you can gather about them, the better. And I was saying this before I ran tabletoppublishers.com, and
Mm.
I can appreciate I'm biased here because I do run tabletop publishers as well,
Yeah.
but really just knowing what the publisher has made is a big step to understanding what they may be looking for. Publishers don't
Yes.
change their entire brand and line up on a dime.
Yes. And that is a great segue into your tabletop publishers database, which I want to talk about because, yeah, I do think that being knowledgeable of all the publishers that exist, because there's just so many. Every day, I'm learning about a new publisher I've never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So just being knowledgeable of all the ones that exist, but then also targeting who you pitch to, I think, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, is so important. So tell us a bit more about tabletop publishers database and how it all started.
Sure. Yeah. So Tabletop Publishers is a database of over 500 board game publishers that are either open to submissions or have worked with outside designers in the past. If they are not looking at submissions, or if they're just in business for their own games, they're not on that list. You cannot see them.
Right.
So when I say over 500 publishers, that means publishers that have a submission page on the website, something publicly facing that says they're looking at submissions, or they've worked with outside designers in the past.
Right. That
Okay.
is a lot.
Yeah. So I started this because this is very much the case of eating your own dog food, as some of the tech folks say. I had a big spreadsheet that I was using to keep track of publishers as I pitched them, as I learned about them, and I just tried to focus on what I could learn about them from their website, from their social media, things like that.
Right.
And I easily spent hundreds of hours of research understanding both which publishers were worth looking at, but then also the publishers that were just in business for themselves. I was also tracking that because great respect to them, but there's no reason to pitch them if they're just in business for their own games.
Right.
So knowing about them and kind of putting them off to the side
Hmm.
helped me say I don't need to track them any further.
Right.
So um, over time, I began talking about it to some folks, and more than a couple of folks were like, "Hey, that'd be a really helpful sort of tool."
Mm-hmm.
So I initially made a WordPress site for it. Spent a lot more time than I'd like to admit,
Yeah.
figuring out all the technical details and making it work in a way that would help people sort and search and filter their way through this big database.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can actually do on the site, so actually back up. So I'll finish one story before telling the next one. So
Sure.
a few months ago, started working with a tech team to make a brand new version of that website.
Okay.
So if you go to tabletoppublishers.com right now, you subscribe, you see that you're going to see the new version that's available to everyone. Um, and what you can do on the site, again, you can sort, you can search, you can filter your way through the list. If you're looking for publishers from a certain country, click the button for Canada, and you'll see all the Canadian publishers on the list.
Wow, that's
If you
great.
want to see all of the publishers going to Essen or that were at Gen Con
Oh,
or that are going to
wow.
PAX later this year. So there's
Wow.
basically the five biggest conventions in the world: Essen, Gen Con, Origins, PAX, and UK Games Expo.
Ah,
You can click those buttons to filter just show those if you want.
wow.
Um, and what you can also do, you can filter to just show the folks looking for party games or gateway games or medium weight games or heavy games or RPGs.
Right.
And you can also kind of mix and match these if you want.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the whole goal here is to help you create a short list of publishers for you to research further. This is not the end all be all of research. You still need to do the research to find the best fits for you and your game,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in the best position to do that. So, um, but what we're actually getting into now, and what I'm really excited by, is something I've been looking forward to doing for years now,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't have the technical knowledge to do. My tech team is helping me build out kind of a CRM, a customer relationship management tool.
Right.
So what you can get right now and what's coming soon, uh, there's basically three modules here. Module one is a way of shortlisting publishers from the database into your personal shortlist.
Mm.
Module two is a way of taking notes on those publishers. And then the next module coming soon is going to be about the games and the pitching. So
Yes.
as you track which publishers you're pitching, you'll take notes as to when you pitched them, what you sent them, the status of the game, the status of that pitch, and that's all there in one place in an app that has been made specifically for you.
Wow.
And yeah, so a lot of CRMs, they're outstanding tools. They're trying to be everything to everyone. They
Right.
require a lot of customization, a lot of setup.
Yeah.
And this is meant specifically for board game designers to track
That's
their pitches to
fantastic.
publishers.
Yes. That makes so much
So,
sense to use a CRM in that way. I've never would have made that connection, but that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I'm currently, I use a spreadsheet and I just try to keep
yeah.
track of the last time I talked to them, what was the last point of contact? Who is the contact? What did we talk about? And all these things. And yeah, spreadsheets can work for sure, but something like that sounds like it would be very, very helpful.
Oh yeah. So I'm really proud of my tech team. They've done a lot of great work getting into this point, and we will have more features coming soon. So
Wow.
this is a good time to get in and subscribe, but more importantly, it's time to get organized and get yourself in a position where you're ready to stop wasting time,
Right.
really, and start sending out pitches the right way. So this
Yes.
isn't just a database for helping you find publishers. My ultimate goal with it is to help designers come correct. No more
Yes.
spray and pray emails, no more spammy. Once you're done, because the research has been done for you, you can eliminate a lot of those publishers that wouldn't be a fit for your game, and you can come down to the top 10 fits, the top 20 fits for your game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can research those a bit further, those top 10 or 20 instead of 1,000.
Right. No, that makes a ton of sense, and that sounds like a fantastic tool. When do you think this updated version will roll out?
End of the month, end of August is what we're going for. But
Wow.
the first, those a couple of those modules are already online. So
Okay.
what you're doing, yeah, what you're getting right now is the short list capabilities and the note capabilities. Those are live now as we
Okay.
record this.
Hmm.
The other modules, the pitching and the game stuff, that's coming online by the end of August 25.
Wow. Congratulations. That is super cool. That is a
Yeah,
fantastic idea.
yeah, thank you so much. I'm really excited. And the thing that's making it all really exciting for me personally is again, this is me eating my own dog food. This is the same system I use for my own pitching.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know, this isn't someone that's making a service just to sell to someone else. This is
exactly.
the service I'm going to be using myself for my own
Yes.
pitches.
Yeah,
So
you solved your own pain point that you
exactly,
use and you know it's going to be valuable to other people. So that's great.
exactly.
Um, so let's move on to so we're talking about publishing. So yes, you pitch to publishers, but you also publish your own games, and primarily it seems print and play games. And you just wrapped up a Kickstarter campaign for your game Starfront Scouting Academy. Are
Yep.
late pledges open for that still?
That's a great question. I think they're closed right now.
Okay.
We will once the campaign is over, we will have it on the Pigeon Printables website.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, so even after the campaign is over, you can still buy it once the game has gone out to backers first. So, but yeah, shinypigeongames.com will be where you can do that.
And that's
Um,
your self-publishing house, sort of.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So Shiny Pigeon Games, it was called No Box Games once upon a time. With No Box, we actually let me pan my camera up now. Um, so if I pan my
Ah.
camera up here, nice dramatic effect there. So our first game here, this was Spies. This was from 22. This was Hidden Movement and Deduction.
Hmm.
This was our first No Box Games game. We had Around the World in 10 to 15 minutes. Uh, we have Dragon versus Kingdom. And our second game from No Box was called Beards and Booty. I helped develop that, but Christian made the game, so that's not my game, so it's not on my wall.
Right.
Um,
Wow.
but yeah, so Starford Scouting Academy was my fifth sort of print and play game. And as soon as I get the final files, I'm going to be printing it up and putting it back up on my wall there. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, that's area control, area majority. You're rolling dice to generate numbers as you scan a toxic planet, an alien planet, basically.
Okay. That's very cool. And I also love how a lot of the projects that you work on, they make things so accessible for people. And even with your print and plays, it seems they're exclusively no assembly print and plays. So people don't have to cut, they don't have to craft, they don't have to do anything. They just print it and they can play it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And part of that, yeah, so part of this was because like when I started getting into gaming, I liked the idea of print and play games. I was living in Europe at the time, and the promise of a game that you can just download the PDF and then start playing sounded amazing.
Hmm.
And then you learn, okay, well, actually, this game has 100 cards to cut out, and it's
Yeah.
got this little template for this thing, and you've got to get 37 dice, and like that just sounds like too much work.
Yeah.
So, when I started looking at making printable games, I thought, well, what if you made a promise that just said no assembly required?
Yeah.
And my first thought was, okay, is it even possible? Because what that means is no cutting, no sleeving, no gluing, no taping. So what that means is no cards.
Right.
So I asked, I just, I was, I jumped on some calls with some fellow game designers about this thing I wanted to do, and they were like, basically just asked them, how would you make a game with no cards?
Hmm.
Long periods of silence, and then they go, you want to do what? How are you going to make a game with no cards? Like, that's what I'm asking you. How would you do it?
Right.
And they were like, well, uh, you could do some things, but really, you just have cards. Most of the time, cards offer you a chance for hidden information where you know something that no one else knows.
Right.
So, with spies, I realized that all I really need here is this is I don't want to take it down there because it's taped to the wall. But with spies, you have your sheet and you are a spy and you're tracking the spy on your left
Mm.
while being tracked by the spy on your right.
Mm,
So your sheet is basically it's hidden. You can put a little shield in front of you, just fold a piece of paper and you're done.
okay.
Um, and um, so you're moving around the map, and this is the hidden movement part. You're also tracking this spy on the little tiny map at the bottom there. So that's how you can track someone else and move yourself around and try to avoid wherever you think you're being tracked at the same time. So the hidden movement is on the hidden sheet.
Right.
In Beards and Booty, that was basically Yahtzee with the pirate twist. There really wasn't a lot of hidden information there. So it wasn't engineered out of the game. It never existed to begin with.
Right.
Um, in Around the World in 10 to 15 minutes, this is a game about traveling and navigating and moving around the map and collecting souvenirs and taking in experiences. The hidden information here is in your mind. So one player is choosing the action that all players have to take.
Mm.
So one person kind of makes the big choice, and then everyone chooses how they want to take that action.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So Dragon versus Kingdom is all about building things to score points, and then as the dragon, burninating all the things. That's the technical term, mind you. So no hidden knowledge there.
Right.
So basically, engineering games to use this specific mindset was the big element.
That is very, very cool. I like that a lot. And it's so fun. It's actually really fun. People might think it's not, but it's actually fun to design within constraints like that. Like, how can I make a game without any cards? And then a lot of the times, the best games you've made from having those restrictions set on the design, which is very cool.
Exactly.
So, have you run a crowdfunding campaign for all of your print and play games?
Yeah. So I've worked with my partners in the business to actually physically run and create the Kickstarters. But all of the different print and plays that I've done up to this point, yes, I've either self-published it myself or in this one case, actually, this was Stargazers here. This was done. This was a game that was signed with the publisher, and they did a Kickstarter for it as well.
Oh, great. And so you partnered with someone to deal with a lot of the like setting up the campaign and things like that?
Yeah. So when Novak's game started, it was myself as the game designer. It was Christian Foch as the illustrator extraordinaire, and Rocky De Leon as our marketer. And that was the first couple of games we did. Christian ended up leaving to work on some other projects, so we brought in Parker Simpson, who is my current partner with Shiny Pigeons. After we finished Dragon versus Kingdom, Rocky decided he wanted to start a publishing company of his own. And so right now, I make printable games with Parker Simpson. Um, and we basically took No Box and his company, merged them together to make Shiny Pigeon,
Right.
and away we go. So it's one of those things where I've learned that my skill set is not in trying to do everything. I'm not a Ryan Lockett. I can't do everything on my own. I
Right.
can design the game. I can do some social media. I can make a website. But I didn't want to be like the primary person for marketing. That's a thing I'd like to learn how to do better,
Hmm.
but it's not a skill I have enough confidence in to be the professional at. I can do prototype art and I can put together, like a good layout or whatever. But
Hmm.
I can't make the professional final art. And that's
Right.
where Parker comes
Yes.
in.
I see. I see. Yeah. No, it's definitely good to recognize, when is a good time to reach out to other people to partner, to either delegate or to partner with someone that has a skill set that you just don't have the time for or you don't have. That can be a really difficult thing to do sometimes, but when you do it, it can be really rewarding to sort of free up
Hmm.
your time to work on stuff that you are really passionate about.
Exactly.
So running these crowdfunding campaigns for your print and plays are what would be sort of the main lessons, main takeaways that you would have from running those?
Um, I think the biggest thing to learn and to kind of be aware of is a lot of the advice you've heard of for traditional games won't necessarily work with print and play games.
Right.
And part of this is because the economics of it are a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I were to pay a few $100s for a perfectly fair, valuable review, I have to sell a lot more copies of that $5 print and play
Yeah.
to make that worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
So the the average economy of uh, the styles and ways of marketing a traditional board game don't quite work the same way as they do with print and plays. So you end up relying a lot more on shoestring type marketing. Your marketing budget's going to be lower. Um, and with that said, because the print and play game is an electronic file delivered to your backers,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing to print, there's nothing to manufacture, there's nothing to ship or distribute.
Yeah.
All you're doing is an electronic distribution of a link.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, on average, it's going to be, like an 85, 90% margin, which is
Right.
great.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not making as much money, but you're keeping a higher percentage of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always um, it's always fascinating when you see a game sell, 1,000 copies, a couple thousand copies, and you go, "All right, I'm really going to start raking in the money here." And then you realize just how small of a percentage your actual thing is.
Yeah.
If it's, 5, 6, 7% of the wholesale price, what the
Mm-hmm.
publisher actually makes,
Mm-hmm.
that might be a dollar or two
Yeah.
per game,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it can be a bit depressing if you think about it too hard. But as a print to play game, you tend to make you get to make more of your money, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Um, that said, I think that there are definitely elements of print to play games that work well. The fact that you can distribute the game to anyone that has an internet connection is great. I
Mm-hmm.
would love to find someone at like the North Pole or Antarctica on the International Space Station. So if you're watching this and you're in Antarctica, the North Pole, the ISS, email me. I will send you some free games.
Yeah.
I just want you to take a selfie. Just hold the thing up with like the Earth in the background or like
Oh, that'd
that
be cool.
thermometer that says minus 60 C. Just
Yeah.
like get a picture of that just to say we'll distribute the games anywhere in the world.
Right.
They're great like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so obviously free to play games can do a lot of things, but the bigger the build, the smaller the market for that will be.
Mm-hmm.
Some players will say they want to do a print to play game without necessarily engineering the game to fit this mold, if you will. In the
Right.
same way, if you want to make a small box game, either for a certain price point or just you want to make a small box game, you're not going to have a big board.
Right.
So you have to make a choice here. Which of these two things is more important to you? The
Mm-hmm.
big board or the small box?
Right.
You know, and maybe there's a way of doing like a cloth board that will physically fit in the smaller box.
Sure.
But so look at the restriction not as a end all be all, because at some point you might decide I want this game to be bigger. So it turns from a print to play into something else. That's totally
Right.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, not every type of game will work well as a print to play game. Some do fairly well. But again, the more things you're asking people to cut up or assemble before they start playing, the smaller the market's going to be for that. Martin's Print and Play Hideaway, absolutely amazing
Yes.
Facebook group, and they have turned crafting a print and play just into an art
Yes.
form. Um, but that's a small niche
Oh yeah.
of the board gaming niche.
That's a niche within a niche within a niche.
Exactly. So if you're going for if you want to go for that market, then let nothing stop you.
Yeah.
But the bigger your target market potential, I think the bigger market here is coming up with printable games that are simple enough to learn and simple to play and either require very little assembly or no assembly whenever you can get away with it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's great. So let's shift gears a little bit here and let's chat about puzzling. Another project that you have just started. Somehow it's like you have 30 hours in the day. Like I don't quite understand it, but I admire it. So you just started Puzzle Run. It seems like it's in the playtesting design phase. So this is where it's a race, a 5K race where participants have to solve puzzles along the way. And I am so excited for this. And I can't wait for it to come to Canada. Please let me know when you need a playtester here because I will
Absolutely.
immediately sign up for it because I have literally talked about this like with my sisters and stuff. Like I want to do like relay races. I want to do like races. I don't want to just go run in a half marathon. That's so boring.
Hmm.
I want to go do geocaching. I want to run from geocache to geocache, which is something that we've done before too, which was super fun.
Nice.
And so this, I am personally very excited about this project. So yeah, can you tell us a bit more about it? Like what was the inspiration for it? And yeah, do you plan on expanding it outside the UK?
Sure. Yeah. So Puzzle Run is essentially a 5K run or walk combined with escape room style puzzles along the way. I wanted to combine just a physical challenge and a mental challenge. And I've taken a lot of inspiration from the park run community, which started here in the UK, started in London, and it has grown worldwide, but it's best known in the UK. Park Run is a Saturday morning 5K around hundreds of local parks around the country. I'm
Hmm.
sure there are park runs in Canada. There's some in the US. Um, and that's an amazing organization. With Puzzle Run, I said, well, I want to, again, I want a physical challenge and a mental challenge along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, what we're envisioning right now, like any event, you sign up for it on the day, you show up at the park or the venue. Um, my co-partner for this, Ryan, is developing a web app. And
Ah,
this is where you'll be timing yourself. This is
mm-hmm.
where you'll enter your answers and so on. So
Yes.
there will be volunteers at the different stations for health and safety purposes, but
Right.
also to make sure that if anything, so also when you're done, um, when you correctly solve the puzzle and you show the volunteer like the success screen, they're going
Mm-hmm.
to give you a literal physical jigsaw puzzle piece,
Oh, fun.
and that's going to go into your lanyard.
Okay.
And then the volunteer can be like, okay, great job, guys. Your next station is this way. Go, go, go.
Right.
So basically, from the start line, run 500 meters, get to the first puzzle station, solve the puzzle, get your puzzle piece, and then on you go.
Nice.
And then it's
Love it.
just puzzle, run, rinse, lather, repeat.
Yeah.
When you're done, you'll have solved 10 puzzles, you'll have run 5K, you'll have spent an hour, maybe hour and a half with your team of 1 to 4 folks. When you get to the end, you'll take the puzzle pieces you've collected and you'll assemble them, and that becomes your medal, your souvenir, your prize. You just put a piece
Yes.
of tape or a sticker on the back,
Right.
and that's what you go home with because you didn't just get handed the medal at the finish line. You earned every piece of that along the way.
Right.
So you've had a lot of fun. You've got a good workout. It's time to go home, take a shower, maybe time to go to a cafe for a drink, and you're on with the rest of the day.
Right.
So um, yeah, so my goal with this was really just something fun, and I make what I want to exist,
Yes.
you know. So I've become a runner over the past few years. I've done a lot of park runs. Actually, I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera here, but I've got my
Oh,
collection
wow.
of medals up there. So
Right.
some of them are 10Ks. The one on the right there is from a half marathon.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of those little couple of bracelets you see up there, those are high roxes.
Oh,
So
cool.
I've done some fun running events,
Yeah.
and what I've seen at those is you get a lot of folks that are there to set their PB, their personal best.
Right.
Um, and yes, I'm definitely in that category as well.
Yeah.
But I've really come to appreciate the park run philosophy, where it's a run, not a race. You go there
Mm,
not to set a good time, but to have a good time.
right.
Yes, and to be clear, you will still get a time with Puzzle Run.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be broken down into like the run time and the puzzle time. So if you see where you want to try to improve on things
Oh,
and
that's
do better
cool.
next time,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that'll be in the app. You can see that and do it for yourself. But we're not going to have this huge award ceremony for the
Right.
person that set the record or whatever. It's about
Mm-hmm.
having a good time,
Right.
not setting a good time.
I love
So
that.
yeah, so if you want to follow along with that, that's going to be puzzlerun.co.uk.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is yes. Once we have done some events locally, my hope is to find folks that can organize local events. My hope is to continue getting runs out there and create something that anyone in the world can enjoy.
Oh, that's really fun. And I saw that at Gen Con, they actually have a 5K that you can do
Okay.
there. Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing. I just saw in a vlog on Travel the Board's vlog that they have a 5K, I think, on the Friday morning that people can run in. And so this might be a cool thing to tack on to board game
Definitely.
conventions. Yeah, that's super
Definitely.
fun.
There's definitely like here in Birmingham we have the UK Games Expo here, and there's quite a bit of space kind of around the grounds.
Mm,
Some of the LARPers will set up the tents and they'll do some of that there, but there's also plenty of hotels in the area. So there's definitely room to do a puzzle run as part of the UK Games Expo. And then when you're done, go back to your hotel, take a quick shower, and then you're back into the games.
right.
So lots of exciting things to do with it. Our first step, as of when we record this, is to do a test event,
Yes.
just a play test, a reality check,
Hmm.
and I'm hoping to do some real events by the end of the year.
Wow, that's so exciting. And I think it's puzzlerun.com, right?
Puzzlerun.co.uk.
Okay, cool. I am definitely going to be following this. I already get your newsletter, so I'm sure I'll keep on track of that because yeah, you run so many cool projects. This might be the one I'm most excited about. So, speaking of all the projects that you do, I think we covered most of them. Did we miss any big ones?
no, I mean those are definitely the big ones. Obviously,
Okay.
making games is a big part of it, and
Yeah.
that's something that has taken up a lot of time. This month, August, as we record this, I am going to be spending a lot of time when not doing those things to try and pitch some of my games.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with a lot of co-designers, and some of those projects are in the stage where they can be pitched now. So behind the scenes, that's not like the fancy part of game design, but it's definitely a big element of it. So on
Mm-hmm.
one level, as I've been updating tabletop publishers behind the scenes,
Yes.
both as the service to subscribers, I've also been looking at it for my own purposes as well.
Right. Yeah,
But
exactly. And so for updating the tabletop publishers, you are like manually looking to see which of these publishers are going to be at Essen and which will be at PAX and then updating the database.
that's correct. So one
Wow.
of the nice things when you have a tech team more or less making a bespoke app for you and for your subscribers, um, I started with some wireframes about how I thought it would look like and how it would work, and they had some suggestions on how this would also work, and we figured out the best way to make it work and function really easily. Um, and this is so much faster than it was with the spreadsheet. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but basically, what I'll do, and so a good example as we record this, Essen is going to be coming up in a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
So once Essen releases their official list of the exhibitors coming, I'll
Mm-hmm.
go on to that website and then confirm with uh, basically just update the records on my back end. And this is the sort of thing where once it's auto saved, it's available in seconds for
Right.
everyone else to kind of sort, search, and filter through. Essen's a little bit different. Essen's special. They don't always update everything months ahead of time like I would like them to. They don't necessarily have all the information in themselves because I think they tend to be moving things around. Essen is the biggest in the world. It makes
Right.
Gen Con look small, if nothing else.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, Gen Con Origins, they're pretty good about getting their exhibitor lists on their website months in advance. And
Right.
even if there are minor changes, I will go back and check those sometimes. But yeah, that is a manual process. It does take some time and effort to do that. But what I get at the end of the day is you get the not just the list of publishers, you get the subset of the publishers that are actually worth talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look on that list, you see 600 exhibitors.
Right.
That includes the coffee stand.
Right.
That includes the little bagel place.
Right.
That includes the folks that are selling RPG accessories but aren't publishing games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I because I've been doing this for years now, I have a separate list of the not a publisher companies, the
Right.
companies that look and sound like board game publishing companies,
Right. Yeah.
and if you want to do the research for yourself, I mean, that list is open and accessible to everyone, but you're going to be having to research all those different companies to find the ones that are actually worth pitching.
Mm-hmm.
So save yourself the hours of research. I've already done it for you.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, at the end of the day, that is a bit of manual work that I do alongside um, the rest of the time. So with tabletop publishers, I wanted to make sure that this was fresh data.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so my goal is to make sure every 6 months or so, I go through every listing that's public to make sure that that is still up to date.
Right.
So no, so yeah, every 6 months, twice a year is my goal. So I just finished a fair bit of behind the scenes research to make sure that everything is no older than 6 months.
That's really, really helpful.
Yeah. So what you're seeing on the website is fresh data,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got it set up on my back end to where I can see whenever listings are about to go over that, and I can just research them really quick and make sure
Oh,
the
that's
information is
great.
still up to date. So
Yeah, so it's like your data is only as good as how like relevant it is, you know, like
exactly.
so.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, some publishers, obviously, some publishers, no one changes their website on a dime, but new people start their new jobs. Uh, Domain names change, email addresses change,
Mm-hmm.
submission guidelines might change. They're starting
Mm-hmm.
a new line. So, yeah, this is it. There's a lot to keep track of and a lot to stay on top of. But
Yeah.
um, again, because I've done this for years now, I've kind of developed the systems that help me research a page quickly,
Mm-hmm.
understand what needs changing on the tabletop publishers database. And at the end of the day, it's all about making sure you, the subscriber, the user, have access to that data in a way that helps you sort, search, filter through it.
Yes.
So you don't have to do the hundreds of hours of research that I've done already. It's
Yes.
already there. And it's a deceptively easy thing to do. You click a button and then you just get the results and you go, that was easy.
Yeah.
You know, it belies some of the difficulty in getting that there because again, this
Right.
is all manual process. There is no AI
Mm-hmm.
as yet that can research a publisher, look at what they make and accurately fill it in.
Yes.
So this is 100% human stuff here.
And it just makes things so much more efficient. And I think a lot of gamers and a lot of game designers, we like to make things efficient, whether that's in a game we're designing or a game we're playing or other things that we're building in other aspects of our lives. I think we really value efficiency. And
Mhm.
this really, really helps with that. So I think that's a really great tool that people should really look into, especially if you're new and you're just overwhelmed by, I don't even know what publisher to approach with my game.
Exactly.
So how do you manage all of these different projects? Because you have just so much going on.
Okay. So I have a couple of things going in my favor. One, I'm privileged to be living in England where I can walk and take public transport wherever I need to go. I work from home. I have an amazing wife who we obviously share the housework and all of that. We have no kids or pets or dogs or cats. So when I arrive in the morning into my office, um, I'm basically ready to get going here.
Right.
Um, I will neither confirm nor deny I have a constitutional incapacity to take vacations. I do know how to relax. I just don't do it for very long, I guess.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but one thing that I realized as I started getting into doing all these different things, um, there's a business term for this and I forget it now, but it's basically when you have a lot of similar things grouped together.
Hmm.
Learning about publishers for tabletop publishers gives me background info to help me publish my own games.
Right.
Um, Doing virtual playtesting gives me the chance to see how other people playtest their games
Mm-hmm.
to help me learn how to playtest my own games better.
Right.
So each of these things is in the industry. And one analogy that I've used, imagine you are looking at a locked door to a room and you want to get into this room, but obviously the door is locked. You don't have a key, but you can kind of look through the keyhole.
Hmm.
And inside this room is the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So from that one keyhole, kind of peeping in there, you see the industry from that one perspective. Okay, that's the designer perspective. And
Right.
then imagine you walk around the corner to a different door looking into the same room.
Mm,
That's you as an artist, as a publisher, as a something else. You're
right.
looking into the same industry from a different perspective.
Right.
And now imagine you walk around to see a third door, like an editor or a proofreader of rule books. Different door, different perspective. So you get these different perspectives into the industry, the
Hmm.
more facets of it that you can explore. Don't just be a designer, offer to playtest, offer to help a publisher at a convention to see some of the business side of things,
Right.
how the thing comes together. So all these
Hmm.
different perspectives gives you a more complete view of an
Right.
industry.
Right. That is a really great way to look at it. And I think that's a great place to end as well. So thank you so much for chatting with me. Where can people connect with you online? I will include links below to the virtual playtesting Discord, and your Substack. But yeah, what's the best place for people to connect with you?
Yeah, so my game design stuff is entrogames.com. That's ENTRO games.com. The tabletop publishers database is at tabletoppublishers.com. The puzzle run site is puzzlerun.co.uk. And the Substack, you can find the links for that on the entrogames.com as well, but that's just entrogames.substack.com. Um, and the printable games are over at shinypigeongames.com. Shinypigeongames.com.
Perfect. Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, so thank you again so much, Chris, for joining me today. This was a
Thanks for
great
having me.
conversation, and we'll take care.
All right. Thank you very much.